Yes.
So hi everyone, welcome. And my name is Sagar Kakkala, and today we are here for most kind of an Udemy session. As you know, I had designed a course in Udemy on how this project is designed, and comparing with the project that we had designed in YouTube. We'll understand the difference between it and how both these projects could be helpful. And before actually, let me share my screen. And since this session also would be updated in YouTube, just like a promo, and in YouTube, there's a bit of diversified content where I make content in travel, podcast, finance, and bit of other part. And just to segregate content easily, all you have to do is remember my name and search in Google Sagar Kakkala, and you'll have my website, you'll have my LinkedIn, you'll have my YouTube. I think yeah. And simply to search for Udemy, you could just search for Sagar Kakkala Udemy, and you'll get that Udemy course right apart. This is the Udemy course here. And before we go, just you have this website, and in website everything is segregated by contents of the blog. And all you need to do is just follow the consecutive order, like the day 0, day 1, day 2. And here you have this would be updated inside this blog, and this is the link for Udemy course. And also in YouTube, everything is separated by playlists. One second. By playlists, you have a DevOps with Sagar Kakkala English, DevOps with Sagar Kakkala Telugu, and this session would be uploaded in DevOps with Sagar Kakkala English. And just like here, of everything, you had to follow in a consecutive order to understand things better. Okay. Yes. Now, before we move further, I'll be showing how the project in YouTube is designed, and what's the difference here in the Udemy. And because I don't want both of them to be same, so that is where I had actually made or designed the projects both differently. Maybe let's go for blog again. So I think this is the plan you could follow on the 20 days. And in project, while you go for this project, you have every of these tools covered inside YouTube project, where you have DevOps, DevSecOps, and GitOps concepts, and everything is built on a step-by-step basis. How we built is just in the day one, we had taken Nginx, and we had actually taken a React application, and we had deployed it in Nginx manually, just to see how process works. Same thing, we had Dockerized the applications. Let's say how we actually deploy the same React application in Docker. And the same thing, once the Docker image is found, we'll be pushing this Docker image to Docker Hub account. And we will be using microKTS here instead of Kubernetes just to save costs. And because this is a basic demo project, and you'll understand difference between microKTS and Kubernetes. Only the setup varies, but the concepts remain the same. So you could take this as Kubernetes project itself. Until here, we'll be doing everything as manual steps. And from here, we'll go for automation, and we'll be using build and deploy using Bash. And once that is done, we'll be connecting Ansible, and we'll be connecting running the Bash scripts. And then this is the main part that comes. This is a CI/CD pipeline that we do in the project, where we do developer just runs the code. Once this part is done, that's where the DevOps workflow starts. It's the build must happen automatically, and even the deploy must happen automatically. That's where Jenkins, we designed using Jenkins. And this is where because we connect to different AWS servers, we'll understand the concepts of SSH as well, of private key and public key before we move further. And as well in Kubernetes imperative commands, since we work with a fast moving environment, you can't rely on manifest files every time. So that's where we use imperative commands. It's just like a single line command, and you get your pod up, you get your service up, you could change your networks, you could scale up pods and everything. So that's where we understand the importance of imperative commands. And as well, as a DevOps engineer, sometimes we need to renew SSL certificates. So that's where even here, we did not went to the concept of renewal. We went the concept of buying an SSL certificate, and how you configure SSL certificate if your application or website is running inside Kubernetes. And the same thing, like since also like Helm charts has been like widely popularly used. Helm chart is nothing but your Kubernetes packaged application, where in Kubernetes you had to deploy your application separately, like the service, like the pods and the deployment and the ingress files. Here in Helm charts, you package everything and you deploy it at once and you roll back it at once. That's how Helm charts were. And this became a widely popular, and because it became a sophisticated Kubernetes application, because a lot of applications now run on Kubernetes. And here is where like we start the project, like we further increase the project, where we are going to use the Docker tags. As you know, like when like you'll be understanding in Docker session the importance of tags, like what tags to give. And like here in this project, for every Docker tags we'll be giving the git commit ID, just for easy track of like who did that commit, like who did that change, like a kind of tracking that we did in this project. And this is more like you could think of a disaster recovery kind of thing. Just say like once you have your build files, we will be storing that in S3 bucket. Let's say like for some reason your server is down, but you still want to run the application. You don't want your customers to like face down. You don't want to lose your customers, because losing customers is like losing money. That's where we will be using build artifacts. We'll be pushing into S3 bucket. This is more like a disaster recovery that we actually designed in this project. And as well here in this day 13, we'll be having Terraform. Terraform, as you know, this is infrastructure as code. In the way the company's work is, let's say we'll get a plan, like what resources to use, and like let's say EC2, one S3 bucket, and like one VPC, a kind of plan you get. And based on that, we design the resources and then we deploy the code. But here things were a bit different, because like we already deployed the project is already running, and we had to get that into Terraform control. That's where you'll be using Terraform control, like using import commands, and as well how to design resources and how to even use the Terraform modules as well. You'll learn end on end of Terraform here, even though you do not have this. This is designed as an individual session actually. You could actually watch Terraform alone as well without linking with the project. And we want to like further increase the project. That's where we had used SonarQube and then Trivi. SonarQube is for code analysis and Trivi is for image scanning. The same thing, and like we are actually configuring Slack and Slack bots for notifications. Since like being in a fast working world, as like we can't go inside server and like check every time. And if something happens, we need Slack alerts. Like the application that we use in a regular basis. Since like now are using Teams, Microsoft Teams, just like most companies prefer Slack as well because of its API and like easy integrations. So that's where we'll be using Slack. And this is something like Prometheus and Grafana. This is like a monitoring tool, Prometheus. Like we'll be having like alerts of the applications, like we'll be configuring alerts as well, like using like Prometheus stack and everything, like the Prometheus rules. And for Slack, we'll be sending alerts. And if you monitor, we'll be using Grafana as a dashboard as well. And like once this is completely done, we'll be using the GitOps concepts like the Argo CD, where for like till then, we'll be using Jenkins for CI/CD. Once the GitOps concept comes, we'll be using GitOps for a CD part and Jenkins for the CI part. So this is completely how the project is designed. Like this projects helped you from like understanding the basics of every tool, and also like how different tools are getting connected each other, and like how things work in like real time world. So this part, yeah, clear with this, right? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Sagar.
Yeah, thank you. And now we'll be getting into this Udemy part. And like what I designed differently here is, let's say, since like if you observe any job descriptions, so the Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, Bash, and these tools stay common, like be it any organization, because I worked with like different projects, like in within the same company, I had worked with different clients as well. So I understood like a lot of applications runs on Kubernetes, a lot of like infrastructure as code would be Terraform would be most preferred, because this is something like everyone knows and it's easy. And like things started, like I got challenges when It's actually a CI/CD pipeline parts. Let's say at the beginning of my career, I worked with Jenkins, and then I worked with GitLab, and then I worked with I think like Azure pipelines, and then now I'm working with GitHub Actions. So, but the tools underlying like Kubernetes, Terraform, and everything stayed common. And even if you see job descriptions, so mostly the CI/CD pipelines changes. So that's where I want to integrate both of them. Let's say like there in the YouTube project, you'll be learning from DevOps to GitOps, and here you'll be learning like different CI/CD pipelines. As simple as that. So the project stays the same, like this, like the first three sessions stays the same. You'll be understanding like how a React application is deployed, and then like Dockerize the application the same, and like how you deploy it in like push to Docker image, and like how you deploy it in Kubernetes. From here, things start changing. From here, like the same build and deploy will be automating using Jenkins, and the same thing will be using GitHub Actions, GitLab, AWS, Azure Pipelines, GCP Cloud Cloud, like the major three clouds that are kept. And these are like widely popularly used CI/CD in most organizations. Like apart from this, like I think like companies are going for Bitbucket, but only like few organizations use those. But most like major CI/CD tools were covered in this part, and the way this course is designed is the same. Like you have resources, and you'll have the video, and like once that is done, you'll have GitHub repo for each and everything. And then this GitHub repo to make your practice easier. Like instead of blogs, just like in YouTube, you have for a YouTube project, you have blogs for everything. Here you have README file for everything. You could just like practice this with README file. And we'll also do one session here. No, one second. Where is this? Draw.io. Where did it go? Fine. Okay. So the way it is designed is, let's say we'll take like one server, like that's an our application that's running. Let's say it could be like a Docker image and a Kubernetes form, and we'll be taking another server, like in the Udemy project I'm saying. This would be called like your agent or helper or runner, like depending on what CI/CD tool you use. Let's say if you're using Jenkins, we'll be having this server as slave. Here the concepts change, the terminology seems, but the work remains the same. Like in Jenkins, you call it master slave configuration. We'll be configuring one slave, and how we will be using this slave, and we will be deploying the application. By default, like Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and everything come with their like default servers. But we using these default servers, you cannot customize anything. Let's say you cannot like deploy a key or something. You just could use the underlying architecture. That's it. So that's where like most companies prefer agents or slaves or runners, like depending on the CI/CD tool you use. Uh, the terminology change. That's where like for every project you'll have like Jenkins, like one agent, or like the slave, or in GitHub Actions you call it as a runner. In GitLab as well you call it GitLab runner. So how you actually like take one runner and actually configure that in every CI/CD pipeline and take the help of the server and deploy our application. So that's where the concepts lies. You learn how the things work in Jenkins, you learn how the things work in GitHub Actions, the same way GitLab, same way AWS and Azure pipelines and GCP Cloud Build. So by the end of this project, you'll learn how like each project, like what's the difference between each CI/CD pipelines, and what is that changes, like the basic syntax that differs, and like how you actually declare it, the pipelines, and like how you write the pipeline files. As simple as that. In Jenkins, you use Jenkins file in the code, and in GitHub Actions, you had to follow particular path. It's like dot .github slash workflows and store.yaml. And you'll find this in GitHub repos itself. And in GitLab, you should specify .gitlab ci.yaml. And in AWS Cloud Build, it's a bit different. For build, it's build spec.yaml. And for deploy, you should use appspec.yaml. And for Azure, it's Azure pipelines.yaml. So being a DevOps engineer, you should also know inside the code, like what file you should catch and what file you should like change. Uh, like you cannot like change things in the code, like which is not advised and which is like restricted, but your files, like the CI/CD files, goes along with the code, and you need to know like what file you need to touch and like what changes you need to do. And as a part of this project, you learn installation of like every CI/CD tool. It's more like you'll be learning it from scratch. As simple as that, like how even like taking the accounts, and like everything is designed by taking a free tier accounts of each and everything, because like we want it to be as cost effective as possible. Yes, till here everyone is clear, right? We'll take one. I'll be taking just one, like a demo server. We'll not go for CI/CD pipelines now. We'll just go for session one, which is actually more like Udemy, like day one session, just to show you how this application is. I'm just like going on a random thing. Yes, till there everyone is clear, right?
Yes, Sagar.
Mm,
Yes, sir.
yes, thank you. One second, let's get this up. I was just trying, like I will not be designing CI/CD pipelines here, but just to show you like how the application is. And I think like if you want the Udemy course, it's actually in every YouTube video description, like that's related with DevOps. Like apart from not in the, I did not kept in the like apart from DevOps. And if you guys had like the coupon expired or something, could just like reach out to me on LinkedIn for like a new coupon. Yes, fine. We'll be following this blog itself. So as simple as that, like Git is already installed. Mm, So this is actually the Udemy session one, which is the README file which I showed in resource block. Okay, I think why did I update? Okay, I'm going for installing. So you guys know this is a React application, and like before we install, like go for like npm run build and all. I think like in Java session as well I discussed where we need to actually have a Node.js, and after Node.js we'll be installing npm on top of that. Mm, let's wait on this. 1 second. Screen recording or no? Okay, it's recording. Yes. Just following the commands. Okay. Okay. Where is this? I don't need to check this npm. Like if you want to like verify versions, like whether it's installed properly or not, there are commands as well. It's same as day one. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. I think like while this is running, if you guys have any queries, you could ask. Change directory and then yeah, because we installed npm now. Npm install, I think like this is something I gave an explanation as well, as you know. Like here. For React, we need package.json and as well npm install. Like we do not have like node modules folder which are required to create a build application. I think now you'll be able to see like a node modules folder. Like once this is actually done, it gets all the packages required or modules required for our React application to get built. It's more like what you say, the application to get built. Yes. As you could see, this is a new folder that's formed, node modules. And it's just like now we're building our application. It's more like just a packaging of our application. We cannot give our code to like a customer or something. It's more like we need him to have a short file. It's more like the .exe file in your Windows. Or you could compare it to .apk files in the Androids. So yes, I think our build folder has successfully done. Once our build folder is done, yes, we'll be installing Nginx. Same thing, because like we need an application server here. Application server is nothing but how do I define it? Just like your .exe file, how you are actually running in your laptop, and your laptop here is more like a deploy server or an application server. The same way, like you'll be able to access your game or something. The same way, since like these files are equal to website, like these files must be accessed using internet. So we'll be using like application server like Nginx or Tomcat, and like we'll be deploying it there. And like via internet, like user will be able to access. Nginx is done. Yeah, Nginx version. Yeah. I'm just copying build folder inside slash var HTML. It's yeah, this is where I'm actually telling like the path that I kept is like slash var slash w slash HTML. Since this got copied like build here, so I'm actually gonna update the path. And I think like this is some explanation that I gave on day one of YouTube. So I'm not going in depth of like how this file is designed and everything. Like you have it in like day one of YouTube as well. And even in the Udemy course part, I had given the explanation back. Mm, yes, and why these are required and everything. It's more like just like when you install a game or something, you need sometimes it asks for restart. The same kind here. Yes, Nginx is running perfectly. Now all we need is this application. Like Nginx now default runs on like port 80. What's that port? Let us check again. Yes, it runs on port 80. For us, our application runs on port 80. So we'll be opening port 80 here. I think, mm, 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 as you could see, like we need to open like in inbound rules, like allowing port 80, and even this inbound rules and everything were discussed in the session, both in Udemy and YouTube. Give a short explanation. Inbound is nothing but like what traffic you allow inside the server, like from outside. And like who would you allow from access? Because like I gave like 00, it's like from any IP, because like we want our application to be accessed by any customer. So we'll be default allowing all the IPs, and like we'll be allowing him from port 80. And outbound rules is nothing but what traffic you allow from inside to outside the server. It's more like your EC2 must be able to access internet, the repos that we did, and the git clone we did. And it was all possible because we were able to access outside network. Now let's go for like since the application has been given. Now let's go for this colon 80. Okay, it's because it doesn't have HTTPS. HTTPS is for SSL certificate. Yes. And like because we did not design any SSL certificate, that's where you'll not be able to use HTTPS. And we'll go for HTTP itself. Yes. So this is how it is designed. Like once the thing are committed, you'll have this. Like you'll have the text changing as well. Congratulations of React manual deployment is successful. For every project, it's the same UI. And for you guys to know whether you did right or not, like whether you deployed or not, it actually gives you the time and date. Let's say because I deployed this application on 19 July 2025 and it's on 8:30. I don't know if you guys could see the time or not. It's 8:30 a.m. here. So that's how you'll be able to know whether you had like deployed it successfully or not. So if you deploy like based on the date you deployed, these stamp changes and the time as well, like it shows. Yes, I think like this is pretty much on like what's the difference between like YouTube project and like Udemy project and how these both things would help you guys. And like once both the projects are done, like I'm pretty sure like you'll be confident in like doing any DevOps project, uh, like be it in any organizations or you do freelancing or something. Like every project here, be it YouTube or Udemy, is designed from scratch and taking basics into considerations. And more like a fundamental knowledge you'll have. Yes, I think like that's all I have. Let me stop sharing.
Sagar, a small doubt. So
Yes.
basically, you said deployment status, right? In the
Yeah.
sense, you deploying that React code in the engines,
Yeah.
in the engines application.
Sorry, I did not get you.
So you said that you're deploying the React code, right?
Deploying from
Deployment
deployment
status.
status is yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So in the sense, like you're deploying React code in the Nginx.
Mm. Yes, yes. I had deployed complete code inside Nginx as I gave example of like let's say you have the .exe file. Let's say you want to download a game in your Windows. Like you do not get the code and everything. You get only one file called .exe. The same if you compare, like this is build file there here. And this build file, what you're doing, like we are actually installing, like we installed Nginx and like we had deployed there. And based on that, our user is able to access the application. It's the same concept, like where you get .exe file of your game and you had to like install it in your laptop just for your game to have that UI thing and like start, like play and everything. Same way we did it inside like Nginx server. Like here you could compare your laptop to like Nginx server. That's it. Clear?
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Yes, if you guys could actually turn your cameras on, like we'll just take the screenshot and like we'll wind up for the day. Oh, yes. Dinakar, Pujita, Vishnu. I don't know why my like Zoom is actually showing a bit differently here. Mm. Yes, you guys are there or let me stop this recording.